so much time believing in a book dealing with faith instead of just trying to research how these people got to where they are today based on the book, or why is the book so popular, and why did they use the Old Testament based on what happened in the first century and second century? Why is the Old Testament still a part of the book? And but for us to try to connect ourselves to these storylines, what is the difference between a Greek telling the same 12 tribe story, having clean or unclean meat, having prophecies, having all these different things also, and they don't take the 10 tribes literally, but you take the 10 tribe literally when we don't even have there's no historical evidence that the 12 tribes exist. So let me just say the question and put it all together instead of me ranting. If we don't have an original text, why would you have blind faith in believing in a text that has been reconstructed over the years? We don't have an original text. And when we do find old manuscripts, they don't match up with what the manuscripts say today, whether it's in Hebrew or Aramaic. I'm trying to figure out why hold on to a book or hold on to a teachings that you don't have any original to it.
So let me say this. I'm not sure if people get the gist of what I bring to the table, but I think that Brother Garfield, one of the problems that we have is that he continually estimates my ability to not only rise to the occasion, but to actually have scholastic research in me. Here's a problem that I find reoccurring in Garfield's narrative since his entrance in the community. He will use the Hebrews as a litmus for why we're placing emphasis on faith-based texts to actualize and realize Black potential today. Garfield doesn't have a single lecture on anyone in the Kemetic community as to why they're all assessing the Pert M. Heru, or the Runu Pert M. Heru, the Book of the Coming Forth by Day. He does not do that. When in fact, no one has an original copy of that as well, Brother Garfield. The oldest copy of that is actually a copy.
We're
That's
not
number
talking
one.
about Egypt, though.
Well, hold on. No, what we're talking about is biased scholarship and your history of having biased scholarship. You see, people could actually respect you. It doesn't matter if they respect you. People could actually respect what you bring scholastically to the table if you are broad with your research. But because your research is biased, it entails that you have an agenda. The problem is, you're looking at two Black people and you have an agenda for one. That's a problem, especially if it's a negative agenda. And especially if the other people that you're not calling out for doing the exact same thing are doing the exact same thing. And not only are you not saying it, but you're parroting many of the things that they do say. It almost makes you a charlatan in the room of people who are actually scholarly. Because every single piece of evidence that you relayed just now in the form of a question to me are the exact same evidence and findings in the Kemetic conscious community today. You do not have an original copy of the Pert M. Heru. I know that for a fact. The oldest copy is a copy, brother. They base their information, their knowledge on faith as well. The Runu Pert M. Heru is mythological in nature, just like the so-called Bible that you're talking about. And I'm not done for you to chime in yet.
I accept
just
that.
like the Bible you're talking about. But what you would choose to do, because it fits the agenda that you've snaked yourself in the community and trying to do, put down the Hebrews. I mean, I've always found it to be productive that if we're going to destroy, it's for the sake of building. But whenever we're destroying one segment of African history, but we're avoiding dealing with another segment of African history with those same issues, then there becomes the reality that there's an agenda. And my question to you is, when you go out, Brother Garfield, and you attack Moors, you attack Hebrews, you attack Muslims, I have to tell you, you're doing a greater job than white supremacy. You're no different than Brother Polite, minus the scamming. Because what you're doing by destroying segments of Black Afrocentric teaching and learning that has helped in some way, shape, or form raise the consciousness of Black people. And I'll even use your most recent words when you said, I can't deny what the Nation of Islam has done for Black men, especially Black men coming out of jail. But you have no problem attacking these systems that have did black people justice in real time today, while avoiding systems that have done absolutely nothing for black people in real time today. It almost seems that you have an agenda which would either A, make you a charlatan, or either be an agent. And by the way, Garfield, an agent is not an agent because an agent signed up to be an agent. An agent is a person who is carrying out the job of another. You may in fact be an agent of white supremacy when you have an agenda for one segment of African people and do not have an agenda to build versus destroy.
All right. Hey, no problem. All right. Let me